Shalom Chaverim and Bruchim Habayim. I'm so glad you joined me to another special episode from Sefer Hageulah by the Ramban. We have been going through the book slowly, verse by verse, word by word. I hope you've been enjoying it. And today we are going to continue with Sha'ar Rishon, the first chapter. We are still very much in the beginning, the very first verse. In last week's lesson, the Ramban announced to us that you have to approach the issue of the coming of the Messiah and the redemption not just as a theological exercise, but it's something that is involved thanksgiving with his strength. He used this word koach because he's talking about the intent to be able to shake the gates of heaven. So he started by giving praise to God, and here in the very, very next verse, we read kind of as a current state of affair. That's why this lesson called the Galut and the Geulah, the exile and the redemption. He says, Omer, כי חייבים אנחנו לחזק מותניים, לאמץ כוח מאוד, לדעת לעוט את יפי הגאולה, דבר הגאולה. Let us try to break it down. Stating, כי חייבים, when he says stating, it's like saying, here are the words of the author, okay? Here are the words of the author. After he gave the praise, he says, we must, כי חייבים, and the word חייבים here is very important. חיוב is a precondition, okay? He's talking about a precondition for the Geulah to come. And he says, in order for the Geulah to come, he says here, חייבים אנו לחזק מותניים. The word motnaim in Hebrew means hips. Literally, it's mean hips. Lechazek comes from the Hebrew word chazak, strengthen. And he said, we must to strengthen our hips, strengthen our body, strengthen our spirit. Okay? And here he used the term koach, again, power, strength. We must strengthen ourselves and gain power. Okay? To help. Ladat laut et yefei galut. We have to strengthen those today who are tired of spiritual exile, and the way we are strengthening them, he says, he used the term davar ageulah. We bring him the word of the Geulah. So he is setting the purpose for his entire book. He said, the reason I'm writing Sefer Hageulah is to, number one, to acknowledge to every Jew in the world that we are today in Galut. We're in a spiritual exile. Any Jew that doesn't believe it does not believe the Ramban. Ramban said the state of the Jewish people today is in Galut. Number one, is spiritual exile. And I'm going to write you this book to ultimately allow you, Jewish people, to become stronger by bringing you the word of the Geulah. Okay? I am going to talk to you about the Geulah, our redemption, to give you hope. In essence, he's saying things are pretty dark and pretty bleak, so I want to give you a word of hope. We need to understand something about the entire Sefer Hageulah. It's a book of hope. It's a book of encouragement. It's a book of prophecy. And he says, the reason I give you prophecy is I interpret in the prophecy for you. I interpret this prophecy that you will have hope because you're very tired right now from the Geulah. Okay? And a matter of fact, I want you to notice that he used this word koach meod. In the last verse, he used the word koach too. And here it says, lada'at la'ut. This word in Hebrew, la'ut, lamed, ayin, vav, taf, that you see in the screen in front of you, la'ut, mean to sustain itself, okay? And it's a biblical word. We see this word, he's making a biblical reference to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 50, verse 4, when he says, Hashem, the Lord, God, Natan li, he is giving me, lashon limudim, a tongue to study, limud, like the word Talmud, lada'at la'ut, to know how to sustain myself, et ya'av davar, so I will be sustained. He will wake me, ya'ir baboker, will wake me in the morning, baboker ya'ir li ozen lishmo ki limudim. He will wake me in the morning to become discipled. In essence, what he's saying here, that this entire concept of Geulah, okay, has to do, the hastening of the Geulah has to do with our ability to be discipled. In essence, Ramban said, if you are strengthen yourself and you will learn how to sustain yourself, okay, I will give you the word of Geulah, and ultimately it will hasten the Geulah. You know, the Rashi actually bring an interesting point that the word in Hebrew here, la'ut, ut, come from the Hebrew word et, which actually mean to set the appointed time, okay, to set the appointed time for the coming of the Geulah, which is the fourth chapter in the book, the fourth gate, which we'll get into. But he's saying that the job of a Jew today is to declare and to proclaim the season of Geulah. That is what a Jew needs to do, to study and to speak about the Geulah, because today we are in Galut. In essence, he's very messianic. He said, we must seek Messiah, we must look for Mashiach, we must talk about Geulah, and we must look for the Geulah. And the way we do it is by proclaiming the words of the things that come into the future, in the head. And that's what his entire book is all about. It's a book that's come to encourage us, acknowledge our state today is in Galut, exile, but we're looking forward for the Geulah. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, the very first verse with the Ramban. I'm looking forward to see you next time to join us for the next lesson. God bless you.